Welcome to the first in a series of interviews with Prescott Valley volunteers. I'm here today with Mike and Edith O'Connell that volunteer at Prescott Valley Public Library. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, how long have you guys been the Town of Prescott Valley volunteers?
1 year, 2 years.
2 years?
Yes.
Awesome. And where do you volunteer at?
We volunteer at the Prescott Public Library, and not only that, we're in the Friends of the Library.
Right. It's like an exclusive group.
Absolutely. It's a great group there, and we see things before other people do.
That's right. So go through your duties with me. Now, I'm sit right there, so I see them all the time, but explain to us what you do in that back room with all the book donations.
Well, we first walk in and go, oh my stars, look at all these books. and then we first go out into the library and look into the Friends of the Library and look to see where the holes are and fill those first. And then we come back to the room, the storage room, and try to get these books into the shelves that we have there so that we can readily take them out again and put them into the library.
Going back to Oh My Stars, it's the good people of Prescott Valley, that
Yes.
put these books in there.
And we appreciate
They've
it.
read them once, read them many times, and then we can resell, get that money, and put it back into the library system.
Right. Now, I helped you go around back to the back door and get some books out of someone's car a few weeks ago. So it's also a very good workout. I
Yes.
burned at least a calorie.
Books are not light.
No.
No, they are not.
Not
And he
only
had a
heavy
lot.
reading, they're heavy.
Right, and he had a lot of books too. A
Oh,
lot
yes.
that we were able to use and circulate in the library.
Absolutely.
Correct. All right.
Yeah.
So what compels you guys to volunteer your time?
Well, we're old. And we've got a lot of time on our hands. And you just can sit home and watch TV so often. You have to get out. And plus being new, just a minute.
Oh, sorry.
Being new in the community, it was a great way to meet people here.
Yes, that's true. It's a
Yes.
great deal.
You may go.
I think there's two solid reasons. One is, as Edith says, we're no spring chickens, and we can sit around at home, but in fact, we need to do more. So it helps us stay active, meet people, but also we're putting back into the community that's really treated us very well.
This is a wonderful community.
It is, I agree.
Very
It is
friendly.
good.
Nice people.
Speaking of that, what brought you to Prescott Valley and how long have you been here?
Oh, you know the years.
Okay,
for
we've
being
been here
3
since
years.
2017. We're California refugees,
Okay.
and we chose here because we lived in San Diego.
Okay.
San Diego, another beautiful place, ocean there, but there's 2 million people there. Here, very quiet, very nice. All the facilities. There were 4 things we looked for. It had to have a regional hospital, which it has a wonderful hospital. It had to have high-speed internet. It had to have a Costco, and it had to have In-N-Out Burger. So,
We weren't leaving California that far
All
behind.
four of
I
those-
agree with the In-N-Out Burger. I do
Yeah.
understand.
all 4 of those checked, and we checked the
And we
plots
checked
on
them
each
right
of
off.
those, and
Yep.
it's good.
That's good. Did you pick the library to volunteer at specifically for any reasons? You guys big book people?
Well, I love to read. And so that was a natural fit for me.
What's your favorite book?
I like, as a teenager, I loved Agatha Christie.
Okay.
So I kind of go towards those kind of mystery books where there's no blood, guts, and gore type of a thing to them. It's very genteel.
Right.
Very genteel. And there's a lot of more modern authors, like Grisham, Baldacci, those kind of books. Easy reading.
Yes. Easy reading. Fun reading.
Fun
huh?
reading.
Right. No philosophy.
No philosophy, and there's no bad words.
No, there's no bad words. What about you, Mike?
Well, the same. I like the detective. I really like Conley. I had to stop reading them after about 20 books because I was part of the police department. Not in real life, but when I'm reading the books, there I was, me and Harry Bosch. We were tight, And finally, all that type of thing. Oh, I really enjoyed that. I killed a lot of time during that, and so I had to put those down and let's get out, start walking, start volunteering.
Hearing, yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, you do read a lot of books on woodworking and stuff like
Oh
that
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Woodworking. I brought some examples. So Shannon, our community engagement librarian, had those,
Yeah.
and she brought them down to show me. So I thought I'd set them up. How much time do you spend doing those?
Oh,
A lot?
Probably too much. I'm in the garage every day making sawdust. At least that's my goal.
yeah. At
Uh,
least 4, 5, 6 hours all morning. And
Yeah,
sometimes
we do
goes
it in the
by.
morning. We don't start making sawdust until 9 o'clock because other people aren't as enthusiastic about noise as I am. So I can't hear it. The neighbors can.
Yeah.
And so we do that.
Now that leads me to you have an obvious accent. Where did you two meet?
This is too funny.
Yes, I feel like your accent's not from California.
It's a hood. Well, I was born and raised in Scotland,
Okay.
and a friend and I, we left home and we only went like 150 miles to England, which our parents weren't really happy about because the Scots and the English do not really get along with each other. In Gaelic, we call them Sassenachs, which is not a nice word.
Oh, it's not.
And so we decided to go to England. She had her sister was living there, so we went. Our parents only let us go because her sister and her husband were there, and they were stationed at an American Air Force base there. So one day we went to church, and Mike and his friend were at the same church, which was odd because we were going to the same church and we were from different countries.
Right.
And so his friend liked my friend, but they wouldn't go out on a date because they needed chaperones. We weren't living in the 40s or anything, mind you. So he asked me if I would go with Mike. So we went on a foursome. They fell apart. They didn't like each other. So we kept dating. And that was it. And about a year later, we were married.
Yep.
Oh, I love it.
His-
When did you come back to the States then?
Yes, I was here in 1970.
In 1970. Was it the first time you'd been to the States?
Yes, very strange.
Yes.
Coming from the north of Scotland where it's cold all the time. Here I was in Southern California
Oh, what a
in the
difference.
70s with people walking around half naked. And I remember thinking, those poor souls, they can't afford shoes because they were barefoot all the time.
I love that. I do love it. But you
It's a different world. Different
when was
world.
the last time you were in Scotland?
Oh, a good
About
10 years?
12 years ago.
12 years. My
We
father,
went
my dad had died.
funerals.
And so
That's
funerals.
where we go back.
Yeah, I have mostly no family left. A couple of cousins, and that's about it. You know, we were not a big
It's a
family.
good thing they died then because we can't afford to go
We
now.
kind of, and I hate the thought of being in an airplane
Yeah.
for that long.
Yes.
And have to go through all the things you have to go through now. I'm just as happy to stay up here.
Yes. And I love your accent.
Oh.
I sit right next to the Friends of the Library room back there, so we get to interact
Yes,
all of the
yes.
time.
But I hear my children would say, we can't, I'd get very angry at them at times. And they said, you know, we can't understand a word you said. And I think, man, I had a really good set of things to tell them and they didn't understand one word.
Right. And Mike, you were in the Air Force, right?
I was. I
Correct.
spent 23 years in the Air Force and did various things. I was a car mechanic. I made liquid oxygen. I was in electronics for the last 13 years and 23 fun-filled and glorious years.
23 years in the
Yes,
Air
yes.
Force.
And
so
a
thank
half.
you for your service.
And a half. Don't forget the half.
Oh, and a half, you bet.
And a half.
Yes.
Speaking of airplanes and rides to Scotland and stuff, how did you guys decide to still come and volunteer at the library during COVID? Because you guys have been back since we allowed it June 1st.
You know, this was not an easy decision to do that because we had been in the house now for 2 or 3 months and we watched the library. Actually, we were here on a Monday and they closed the library on
the
a
next
Tuesday.
day,
That was it.
yeah.
That afternoon we got your email and said, nope. And I go, oh man, we're in it. This is real. And so we sat home. We did, you know, we'd drive through fast food places.
We
so
window
then came
dined.
home.
Yeah.
Window dined.
Yes.
But when it came time to, we got the email, we're going to volunteer, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to wear masks, we're going to wear gloves, only if you're comfortable. So we said, well, let's give it a try. And so we went in, and a few people were there, and everybody was suited up. But in fact, it was not an easy decision because you can't see the germs. And so you wonder who has the virus. Well,
Right.
luckily for us, nobody had the virus. It was very good. And so the longer we volunteered, the more comfortable we are. And so, no, I think, and we needed to do a good thing, too. I mean, sitting at home's no fun,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
And we appreciate it very much for you coming in during that pandemic. And then one last question before we go. If you came with the warning label, what would it say? Edith goes first.
Well, it would obviously say caution.
Just caution.
Proceed at your own risk, maybe.
There you go. What would yours say, Mike?
I would probably say it would be caution, talks too much.
There you go. Thank
it.
you guys for being our very first interview in this series. I'm Brandi, I'm the volunteer coordinator, and this is Mike and Edith O'Connell, and they volunteer with Friends of the Library. Thank you guys.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I love it.